Silent Hill 5, you know, like I think the big thing is that we were worried because American white boys were taking over the franchise.
There's a lot of reasons to be worried. You know, Konami's handed this to a U.S. developer, and traditionally, you know, when that happens with a franchise, it usually goes south. But
Right.
I think in this instance, after seeing the game, I think it's in good hands because, if anything, Silent Hill 4 was kind of a departure. It really wasn't like the old games
Sure.
in a lot of ways. But Silent Hill 5, the guys in the collective, they're trying to bring it back to more like SH2, which is everybody's favorite game. A lot of the stuff is very evocative of that, and yeah, they're kind of playing it safe. It's on the same themes, same visual motifs.
You play as Alex Shepard, and he is returning home from a war. Your younger brother, is missing, and your mission as Alex is to try to save your brother.
This is obviously a sought-after project. A lot of teams wanted to get it. How exactly did you land this gig?
Really, we attacked it like we've never attacked a presentation before in our life. Our first goal was just to give us the setting and the character, and Richard, our creative director, provided that. He sort of came up with the concept. So we actually we spent about a week and a half putting together a real-time demo. So we actually did a full character model, 2 full character models, a little bit of a set in a week and a half.
Wow.
We cranked on it, and because I think we were so much passion behind it. And once we did that, we actually cut it into a video, put some of Akira's music to it, and said, we think we understand Silent Hill, and this is what we're going to do with it. So it was a really fun process. I think we felt confident about it, but I think in the back of our heads, we still were skeptical that we would be able to get it. But I remember when I got the call, I was literally like screaming. I was so excited because it was one of those opportunities that, for me, like artistically, it was the biggest challenge this is the biggest challenge I've ever had in this industry. So I was very enthusiastic. It comes from reverence and love. I mean, we love Silent Hill as much as the fans do because we are fans.
A lot of things we saw seemed a little cliched, like little kid leaving crayon drawings and the nurses and you're strapped to a gurney. But in a way, that's what people want from Silent Hill. And I think if they had gone in some other direction and tried to do something really weird, the fans would have been really angry.
Our whole technology that we base this game on is all internal. So we were able to handcraft it and really deliver on some tools that allow us to dynamically change surfaces in a very in a very interesting way with almost feels like the one surface is eating away at another. And we were able to get simulations like the illusion of peeling paint coming off the wall, and all this is happening in real time around you. You are descending into hell, and it should feel that way to the player.
Because it's real time, it draws the player into the experience in a way perhaps they're not used to before. So when they really feel like that this is their journey rather than their character's journey.
The walls are melting and burning away, and I thought it was CG. Like, it looks so good.
Yeah, it's really cool to see it happening like while you're walking around the space. For me, as a player of most of the old Silent Hills who wasn't too into the controls, I think this is going to be the first one that really handles that.
Right.
It's nice that the guy, when they told us, this kid, the main character, he's a soldier. My first thought was well, soldiers got to shoot guns.
Right. Well, they're not
You know
ready
what
to
I
show
mean?
us that, and we asked, are you turning this into a shooter? They said, we're not turning it into a shooter, but the gunplay will be better.
Right.
But it's funny, a lot of the hardcore fans are upset because they added a dodge move, and they added different kinds of attacks. I think that's great.
So do I.
Silent Hill combat was shitty. It always was. So when you came to this to fix Silent Hill combat, what was your approach?
Well, we sort of took a step back and said, what do the players want? And what I think they want is a more interactive feel to the combat. They want a responsiveness in the combat. And that's where we started our efforts. You can chain light attacks, and then they go into heavies. And additionally, with heavy attacks, we allowed it so you can charge them up to sort of get bigger reactions. And it sort of creates a system where you've got to decide how long you want your chain to go, when you want to charge into the heavy.
You can counter out of those attacks at any time. You can use dodges and counter out of dodges. But the idea is to maintain fluidity. want the player to feel at all times that he's not stilted when he's interacting with these characters, so that he can choose if he's got a group of enemies to fight, he can choose which one based upon their positioning that he wants to deal with first. So if this one's a greater threat, then I'm going to deal with this, and then I can maneuver myself into a better position.
Different attacks will sort of swipe in different directions, and the characters will react to that. If you're swiping horizontally, they'll fly that way. If you swing up, they'll fly back. And the really cool ones are when you swing down heavily, they'll sort of get crumpled down. And then there's even ground attacks where, you can push them onto the ground, jump on top of them, and do attacks there.
Since our character is a little more capable, we want to make sure the enemies are that much more dangerous. So they hit you a couple times, you're done for. So really, there's going to be a heavy focus still on the tension and being afraid. Because as soon as you're empowered, you tend to lose fear.
Combat just feels better because they added the dodge, like the melee stuff. You feel like you're not helpless all the time. You really could take on a group of enemies if you wanted to.
Well, and they didn't show us any bosses, but just the little hints we got, it sounds like they're going to try to make more like a Zelda style, event bosses.
Yeah, that is what it sounded like.
Silent Hill bosses are always kind of bad, so.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing them because they made them sound like they're going to be huge, and that's really cool. Akira Yamaoka is still around. It's not like he's left the building completely.
Right. Everyone thought he was done with this franchise. It was made by Whites, but they brought him in to do this.
Whites.
to not only do the soundtrack, which is crucial. He's done all the soundtracks. He's a really incredible composer.
No, I love
But
his
he's also
music.
consulting overall on the look, the feel, making sure everything is Silent Hill.
I think the emotional center of Silent Hill and the games that we love comes from sound, and Akira obviously is that person, because we could put whatever wrapper we wanted on it, but if it didn't have that soul, I think the fans would recognize that. So he's been very open and willing to work with us to see our vision of what we want to do, and then just bring his his magic to that to that equation.
Just talking to those guys, the guys in charge, the lead designer, lead artist, they're really big fans.
Oh, they're
and you
super
can tell,
passionate about
they're
it.
very passionate.
Oh, yeah.
They really want to be making this game, and
Yeah.
I can tell all the skepticism from the fans is really, they're taking it to heart, and I think they're working extra hard to make it good. So,
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to change people's minds for sure.
yeah, and it's a long ways off still, and they're going up against RE5, but I'm hopeful. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I think where RE5 is more of a action game,
Right.
this is going to come off as genuinely freaked out and scary.
Yeah, it's
Looking
all
forward to
good.
it. Yeah, it's going to be
I'm
good.
looking forward to being scared.